That Christine McVie. I gotta love. He's got her. She's got a non-bearing, non. I can't even say the word. Somebody's got a hold on me. I gotta love. It's got a hold on me. R.I.P. Christine McVie. Fleetwood Mac, more of my sister's band than mine.
They were my parents' party band for sure in the late '70s, early '80s. I just remember all their friends playing Fleetwood Mac. But I'm a little younger than you.
Great, let's.
And by the way, that was the greatest selling album, Rumors, until Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Yes. So. Yeah, Matt, I did my Spotify. We're gonna do this tomorrow fully. I did my Spotify year recap. Very interesting. Very interesting. I was 56 percentile, like listen to more than 50% of the people on Spotify.
Yeah,
all music.
Not really close, not close to the 95% that I had, but
no, I know. You're out of your mind, music wise.
Yes,
out of your mind. Now we got a lot to get to today. All right, so let's get right into it. Let me share. I missed this because this was actually not breaking news like the elites. This was yesterday. PX Fantasy Football Dynasty. Ben shared this from yesterday. On this date, 1971, Brian's song premiered, and there was not a dry eye in all of America. Gale Sayers paid tribute to Brian Piccolo 50 years ago tonight. In the movie, he said, "I love Brian Piccolo, and I'd like all of you to love him too. And tonight, when you hit your knees, please ask God to love him." Matt, it was, first of all, it's a movie about the Bears, right? So, like, as you're a kid, and it's a bear movie, and Gale Sayers, and it was so phenomenal, right? It was just a great movie. But I will tread here, Matt. I will tread. For me, as a 9-year-old boy, it was the first time I saw the word or heard the word, the N-word, used in a movie, right? And it was used in a way that was so disarming. It is such a lovely scene that, if you haven't seen the movie, you got to watch the movie just to see the interaction where this word is used. They broke a lot of barriers in this movie. And for me, it was like it was a trend, a several-year trend coming out of the worst, racial problems that we've had in this country. And we're on this trajectory, right? We're on this trajectory. And from my point of view, in the last decade, it's been completely disrupted. And on so many other narratives that we're going to get to, there's complete nonsense in the world. Like, we are not a more racist country than we were in 1971 when this movie came out. That word should not carry the weight that it carried then. I don't care what you tell me. We are not the same people as those people. We've grown and matured and lived it. And we live in this world now that is so upside down. And we're going to get to price discovery here because it's not just race, right, that is upside down, right? It is, whoa. Oh, get out of here. And we've shared this before, this little one from Cosmo. This is healthy. No, it's not. It's not healthy. Me and you both have been struggling with weight, right? Me later in my life, maybe you your whole life, I don't know. But it's crazy because now that since this is healthy and that's where we're at in the world,
it's making me want a double cheeseburger, a Big Mac, and 2 large fries.
And by the way, it reminds me of the Lions.
Like, when I see that, it doesn't make me want to exercise. It makes me want to eat fast food.
It reminds me of the Lions uniforms too. By the way, the onesie. The Lions on Thanksgiving had the onesie. Like, they could have just taken their pads out and gone to the.
You think they just put their toes in and they just pulled it all?
They could have just gone to the ballet and been in the Nutcracker right from the field. Just pull the pads out. They had gray onesies on. I think their uniforms were supplied by Lulu. I mean, it was just a gray Lululemon outfit on the Detroit Lions. That's why they lost. Anyway, the New York Post sharing United Airlines eliminating seats as Americans get fatter. Now, this is shocking to me. I've struggled with putting on a few extra pounds, but the average woman in this country has gone from 150 pounds in 2019 to 184 pounds in 2022. Holy shit. And the average man, 190 to 205. I can bust out of both of those ranges.
So,
for sure.
equal rights. We're almost there. Like we can have, 190 versus 190 male female boxing matches.
That's not where we're going.
Oh,
Where we're going. That's not where we're going. Where we're going is we've never covered this. Well, we have, we're covering weight loss, and when I typed in weight loss stocks, Peloton. I mean, we're going to cover Peloton, but Lulu came up and Nike came up, right? But other ones that we have never looked at are Herbalife, Weight Watchers, Peloton, and Planet Fitness. Let's get into price discovery.
And we'll look at United. And before we do that, just because you brought it up, we're gonna start with and since we are a music show, also we're going to talk a little bit about Spotify because we haven't checked in on it in a while. And since it is the happy year end, your favorite songs, my favorite songs, groups, etc. Let's take a look. I mean, we've talked about this 387. Last time I think we talked about it was here at 176, and we said it looked like it was going lower. And here we are. I mean, dripping all the way down. It's currently trading 79.48, got down to the low 70s. This is interesting now because you're at the bottom of all time. I mean, it only started trading in 2018. So you're getting to the bottom of it's a new low. I mean, these prices have never been seen. So the more, what I would like to see with this stock, Bob, I'm not, you can trade it now, but I would like to see it spend some time down here. Go 3 to 6 months, just kind of pacing along.
And maybe if they make money, it doesn't look like the last two quarters they did.
I don't. Yeah, let's see.
And they're not paying a dividend, right? Definitely
not paying a dividend, and no, they have not made money. And the most recent earnings, which was just October 25th, they missed to the earnings side, and the revenues were about what they expected, pretty much right on. So a little above. So, still $12 billion a year in revenue at this run rate. So, it's pretty good. And it's a $15 billion market cap. So again, I got to imagine it's getting close to somewhere, but it's still, I don't know, software as a service. And obviously they got to pay the artists but it's a platform that's doing well. I mean, as far as music, I think more people probably listen to Spotify than they do Apple now, even though Apple has their own platform. And I would say the same thing about Amazon. I don't think anybody listens to music on Amazon unless you're an Alexa fanboy.
Yeah, we actually do listen to some because we got Alexa listening to all of our conversations in the kitchen.
Yeah, I've discarded all Alexa in my life. So, as you know.
Yes, I do. All right, man, let's look at some weight loss. Herbalife's got an interesting backstory because
everybody knows Herbalife. Yeah, everybody knows Herbalife because it was a favorite short of many hedge funds, including Bill Ackman at Pershing Capital for a long time. And this thing, he battled it reminds me of one of my best epic battles against shorts. And this is how it happens. Like, no matter who you are and how big you are, and he was big, and Pershing Capital is big, and he's well known, and he was very activist against Herbalife, calling it a scam, and he was out there, laying it out,
pounding the drum,
pounding the table. And this is where he puked. I mean, honestly, this is where he puked right here in early 19. And as soon as he got out, it was done. And so. Sometimes I think as a trader, this is a good lesson. Sometimes you have to take the loss before you can take the gain. I'm not saying he got back into it, but I'm sure he was just laughing because I had a similar thing happen in 2000 with Krispy Kreme. It was just going up. And then, we were back spread and it was going on really from late 2000 until mid 01. And then we finally puked and then it collapsed. And just that little collapse, would have made us $20 million. So I always say it's like a $30 million loss because I didn't lose $20 million, but didn't make the money.
Yeah,
we should have made just in 2 weeks. I'm
not talking about for sure. And if you don't think that is a natural mindset to have, that you have to fight, but that's for sure.
But sometimes you just have to get out. And sometimes if you get out,
you can clear your head.
You can clear your head and you can look at it objectively and go, I got to be back in. And maybe you took the loss, but let's say his average might have been something, again, I have no idea where he was short, but let's just say it was probably somewhere around 50, and if he got out at 62 and got back in at 50, he still would have done great. Even this move down here to 33, right? He would have made 30%. So that's the thing. It's like when the thing finally broke, and again, I don't know how Bill Ackman trades. I probably would guess he's not, since he was very activist against Herbalife, he probably was not very technical. So he probably, outside of the price going higher, he probably didn't think too much, but it's interesting.
Well, as we go on here, for me, these two charts are very interesting. Like the stuff that you put in your body, these charts look like they go to zero. Weight Watchers and Herbalife, and they are on the mat, both of them.
Listen, they both. I don't know anything about Herbalife, but I know women that have had success. Like my mom's friends did this, and they'd lose weight if they stuck to the program, which is just calorie counting. You don't need to buy their food. Like you just have to. You can't be on the cover of Cosmo looking like Izzo eating fast food, and that makes me want to eat fast food, not work out.
It's healthy. This is healthy. This is healthy.
But fast food was healthy when they did what was the movie, eating McDonald's every day. He was doing great too. I mean, he lost.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Hey Matt, Planet Fitness.
But Weight Watchers also, it's interesting. Like it's a fad company, these companies, because it all comes down to it's still the human. The human has to execute on the plan here. And we're horrible, especially when you have 100 or 1,000 cereal choices at the supermarket, like you talked about yesterday.
Yeah,
I have 1,000 and 50 of them have chocolate in it, and I love chocolate. It's a problem.
Not only that, our esteemed overlords, the government has put out nothing but shitty information around diet forever. Well, ever since the grain companies started paying them off. Anyway,
it's
guaranteed, probably. By the way,
I mean, Weight Watchers is down here at $3.79, Bob. I mean, again,
does it pay a dividend?
No, God no. And they're making money. I mean, their last earnings. Let's see, they're doing still $1 billion a year in sales, and their market cap's only 267. So again, this would be one fundamentally. I'd want to look at their bonds and say, what kind of bond exposure do they have? Maybe somebody can come in and buy it cheaply and reprocess it, and take it public again in 5 years. That's probably what's going to happen to it again. Because like you said, everybody gained 30 or 40 pounds during the pandemic.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I'm putting up a good fight here, though. I'm putting up a good fight right now. Yeah. And I think the other thing that is hurting these companies is the success that people are having with intermittent fasting. Again, it's mostly just you're eating less calories.
It's what you put in. Exactly.
But there is also a metabolic function to this, that your body functions better when you starve a little bit every week.
Yeah. And even when you go back in the history of man, I mean, I think there's a big piece in that's the Bible, because it was healthy. It was healthy to fast and to clear your head and to get the toxins out of your body. They've known it for thousands of years.
Ferris has done a lot of work on that too. Yeah. Great work, by the way.
But when you and I have talked about this a little bit, to me, again, with the consumer getting whacked, at some point,
the gym membership has to go.
The gym membership has to go. Even Planet Fitness, which can be whatever, $10 or $15 a month. But at some point, it keeps holding this, $60 level. So if it's been a good trader, but now to me, you're back to an area where you want to be selling this thing straight out. You want to be selling it. So.
But everything's fine. Jay Powell said it was fine yesterday. Everything's fine.
Everything was saved. That's right. At least until the end of the year, because we don't have the earnings.
And then this one was interesting too for me, because we lambasted this.
We've beaten the turd out of it, but
last year, like incredible joke in the past 2 years.
Again, you've maximized this trade. If you haven't taken profits from all these sells all the way down, by means, take them. It's over. I mean, I'm not hanging around as a short seller. I don't care about the last $11 or whatever the low was. So that's just how I look at things.
I agree with you 100%. It's a perfect example. You missed it.
And it could go to zero, and it could become private, and it could be taken public again, and it might resurrect itself, but whatever. It's just like Nordic Track, right? Nordic Track, Peloton. I mean, what was the other one? Nautilus. Like all these companies have been public at some point, and they all fail because they're all trend companies. I mean, right along with it, I just got to throw this one in, because we used to joke about Playboy. I mean, have you looked at this thing? This was another one of these meme stocks that went crazy again during COVID. I'm like, what? Playboy? The magazine doesn't even exist anymore. And who, did they have a web presence? Heck to the no. I mean, look at this thing, Bob. 62. Again, it was repurposed back here during COVID too. It came out again because I guess everybody all of a sudden needs more.
Oh yeah, I mean they were playing. Everybody's at home. We're going to show them. We'll show them.
We'll show them. Great.
We'll show them what's healthy. I'll show you what's healthy.
But they can't compete with whatever all these sites that are out there now. They can't compete with all the garbage. But I mean, 374. It's the same thing. You just see these things over and over again where they explode and then they fail. Now, I do want to touch on two other stocks that you mentioned. United Airlines, we haven't looked at. We've looked at American. We looked at this recently, and I said the same thing. I'm like, this to me, on many levels, is a short again. The airlines have had a good run, and again, we're coming to the top of a trend line. We're coming to the top of profile here on the pricing, on the order flow. Again, 14.5 billion, no dividends being paid. The quickest way to become a millionaire in airlines, the old joke, the old adage is start with $1 billion. So nothing has changed. They all go to zero over time because they're very expensive, and they have oil, and they have all these, they have unions, so many mechanical business problems just getting into that business, right? It's horrible. And now you have pilots that have been, double jabbed, and now they want to put a pilot up there without another pilot. And
oh yeah, good luck on that. That is never happening.
I won't be flying that airline.
I will walk. I get on a plane and there's one pilot. I turn around and get right back off.
Put a dummy up there at least to fool me, And then the other one I want to talk about, we've talked about it a lot, but it's back. It's down a little bit today, but after falling down, it fell down about 10%. And this Wingstop, to me, I mean, Lizzo's keeping it in business for sure. The way she looks on the copy of that.
Let me tell you something.
And actually, if she was eating wings, she could just go on a wing diet.
Yes, exactly. Well,
if went on all wing diet, all wing, no fries,
no sauce.
No
sauce. Have the sugary sauce.
You can have Frank's. You can have Frank's. You can have
That's true.
Any of
I
the
put that
stuff.
shit on everything too. Actually, I use the Manja Cajun hot sauce myself. Matt, that's a perfectly illustrated profile where you can define risk so easily there, and you can buy put spreads, you can sell call spreads. There's a lot of ways to crack that nut. Again, too, I'm not sure if you've seen the amount of chickens that we have had to cull in this country from the bird flu.
Mm-hmm.
No jab for the bird flu, apparently, but their margins have got to be through the roof.
Yeah.
With the cost of chicken. What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken, Matt. Listen, I went to the AI again because I wanted to talk about. Well, you shared in the network a Zero Hedge article about this polar vortex collapsing. Wait a second, that's not it. That's not it. Oh man, I gotta tell you, Lee, get in the production booth and figure this out. Man, I put it in the AI, and we do this every day from Night Cafe, the text to AI imaging, and I put in there, Matt, cruise ship stuck in the ocean ice. As it's gonna be cold, we're gonna put on Louis Armstrong singing really soon. Baby, it's cold outside. I don't know. It's a pretty cool image though, from just that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, very cool image. Cruise ship just frozen in a wave. Let me share.
But are they all jabbed on that boat?
They're all fine. Everybody's fine.
Everybody's jabbed. Okay, good.
There's no food poisoning danger at this point that we know of. Definitely that we know of. All right, let me share. Let's talk.
Let me throw this out. Deion Sanders was offered the Colorado Buffaloes head coaching job, and turned it down and told everybody about it. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, he don't like the cold, apparently.
Well, Boulder's not bad, but I think the reality is the Pac-12's over, and they're going to have problems. Like, where's Colorado going to end up? Are they going to be in the Big 12, which is all broken up? It doesn't have Texas and Oklahoma because they're all going to the SEC. So, I mean, this is the problem. Until they get that situated, they're not going to be able to get a coach. Otherwise, I think, you could make the Colorado Buffaloes great again. I mean, he would be a great hire. Matter of fact, my friends that went there were all excited. I'm like, I doubt he'll go just because, there's no,
Well, yeah, right.
there's no,
Yeah,
there's no teams. Like you don't have anybody. So you're not like, if you're a coach now, you have, or a player, like you're going to get seen obviously in the top 5, and the Pac-12 is not one of those anymore. So until that all kind of straightens itself out,
you got to wonder too how many other. For sure, he's going to land a big job.
For sure, yeah,
He's going to land a big job, and so I guarantee you, he said no because there's something else simmering on the back burner. We used to talk about that, Matt, with hog spreads. Put that on the simmer, put it on the back burner and simmer it. Forget about it. There's something else coming down the pike for him.
Right.
For sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even if he has to stay for another year, actually I'm surprised somebody like Nebraska didn't go for him. That would have been a good move for him because Nebraska sucked for 20 years since Tom Osborne left. I mean, they've been, and I thought Scott Frost would be the guy, and he failed horribly. So again, it's that culture. It's hard to bring players to places like Nebraska or Colorado if you're from LA or Florida. Like the kids don't want to go there.
Right on, man.
I mean, especially, it's hard for Michigan, but Michigan has a lot of they get a lot of those northern kids and the kids that want the education too. So what does Nebraska have to offer you if you're not looking for an education, or you are, it's not really the greatest school either. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, it's, I don't know.
You don't want to get in trouble.
Well,
this whole episode is skirting, delicately skirting. Matt, Tyler.
By the way, did you see crude today? Crude back over $83.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's why we have this share from Zero Hedge. Wasn't he? Didn't he get canceled for a while? Zero Hedge. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, Greenland block, cold Arctic air across EU. First proper test of power grids. And we've been sharing this for a couple of weeks, Matt. We are way ahead of the curve. I have not seen anybody else talking about it. Way ahead of the curve here. Natty Gas has actually had a nice pullback, and if it continues, there's a couple great areas to take advantage. Let me get the map here, Matt, so I can do my high pressure here in Greenland. Like, look at that high pressure, just pushing up into the Arctic, and that's going to collapse the polar vortex, making that low with that extremely frigid Arctic air is going to come down and freeze balls all over Europe, Test already a strained power grid. I saw in the summer, like, you can't buy firewood in Germany. Like, it's all spoken for. It's all spoken for because
those temperature averages versus what they're expecting are, let's say they're normally 37, they're expecting like 25. That's a huge cold snap. Like, they haven't seen that in a little bit of time. So, again, they're going to be.
All right, so we cover them almost every day, and we have to, because they're the most important traded commodity on the planet, not carbon credits. All right.
Just last Friday, crude was down here at 73.50 or so, and today it hit 83.30. So yeah, bullish alert, at least on the short term. Really, again, you could buy it all the way back here to low 76s, the low end of value, and we're above value on the top end. So the first area would be here at 80.50 or so, and that's that level from yesterday. And then below that, you're looking at 77.50 or so. Those are the two levels that I would be keen in on if you want to get in on the next piece of the move. And again, we keep talking about this as you fractal out. There's nothing but upside still to these charts, as long as kind of that $60 level holds. And interestingly enough, trend line traders, let's take a look at.
In fact, there was a great share somebody shared today. I think it was Real High sharing. Can somebody lend me a trend line?
I'll throw it out there because they're bullish now, right? So
right, exactly.
Important. We've got 3 points of touch here, and yesterday kind of broke out of that trend line, and on a longer time frame, just getting into value. So that portends to 88.90. Just looking at the profile here, a lot of work. Again, the more time that they spend getting back into these areas, again, the better chance it's got to get through there to get to the higher prices. So again, it's all baby steps. But I think the policies that are in place by this administration are not going to change things. And this temporary reprieve that we're getting at the gasoline prices right now won't stay. I don't believe it will stay. Everybody is so confidently bearish on oil because it's been down now. It went from 130 all the way down to 73, let's call it, in not in a very short order. So I mean, rightfully on that time frame, it's fairly bearish. But you start looking at the longer time frame, this is still not very bearish, right? It's just coming back into an area where it took off from. And I wanted to show this because look at that. It's a beautiful profile, again, that's just settling into this. And unless it gets under that $60 level, I'm not a believer that oil is done. Oil is going to have to get under 60, which would be, for me, that would be world peace. Forget about Ukraine, because that's going to go on for years. It's not going to be over. It's going to look different. It's already quieted down, right? It's already.
Yeah, that I don't know what's quieter faster, that or Paul Pelosi and the hammer, the hammer X-ray. That went away fucking.
Or
not like
there's so many. I mean, the Colorado.
Please pull up Natty Gas, because I think that's actually a more interesting by the dip story right now. And as we've shared over the past week or so, or 2 weeks, this Henrik, right? Is that it? Henrik? Leopold Henrik. He's this cold snap really doesn't really get super ugly for another couple of weeks here. So they're going to tease with cold weathers. And so we can retrace some here on natural gas because the demand hasn't started. It hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, 573 to $2 halfway back is about where we are. And then, I really like the 640 level, if we can get down to that level. But even here, it's not, we're down today another 2%, 680. And that's about half back. That's holding this level. If that goes, we'll go swiftly down here to 640. So I would put some bids down there, personally, for me, down there at 640. That kind of looks like an area that would be interesting to start acquiring some natural gas again with the cycles in the winter coming.
Right. Did you like my I could be a weatherman, right? I could be a weatherman. High pressure building and pushing.
Especially if you called yourself they, them, binary, and put on a women's set of.
You remember George Carlin? There was the hippy dippy weatherman.
Yeah.
We got a whole nother types of weatherman available now for your viewing pleasure.
But I do have some breaking news for you on the healthcare front. I want to get your feedback on this. FDA approves its first ever fecal transplant therapy to treat deadly superbug C. difficile, which is given as an enema. Would you like to try that?
Believe me, if you had C. diff, you would try anything.
What is C. diff? I don't know anything about it.
C. diff it's a bug in your lower digestive tract somewhere that they cannot kill with normal antibiotic.
Okay.
And you if you have it,
I see it causes fatal diarrhea, so you shit yourself to death.
You literally are shitting yourself to death. Oof. And you would take anything that they say. You would drink this, believe me, if you had it. I always thought this, Matt, that
what's the price discovery on this? Who makes this, Bob? Who makes
I don't know, but it's a fascinating thing where there's a Matt, this is going to be a segment we call what are we going to call it? That's real shit, something like that. The real shit. It always seemed to me interesting that, there's certain cultures that are just skinny, right? Yeah. They're just skinnier people. Like, it's got to be something to do with the gut flora, as far as I'm concerned. No shit, Sherlock. Thank you, Lee. No shit, Sherlock. Pure C. diff. I can't wait for the commercials for this one. That's going to be fantastic.
Well, here's the risk factors. If you're over 65, if you're in the hospital or a nursing home, if you have a weakened immune system, have AIDS. I'm not even going to go with that joke on that one. Cancer, organ transplant, immunosuppressant. If you're on any of these things, watch out. Otherwise, like you said, no shit, Sherlock. No brainer. Yeah.
I mean, and so basically what they're doing is taking somebody's healthy, and it's really just the flora, just the viruses and phages and bacteria that are natural in a healthy person, and they're giving the old roto-rooter to you. And it's like bringing in the recruits, adding to the team. Come on, I need some guys. I got no guys.
But seriously, Bob, I do want to see, just for price discovery's sake, I want to see who makes the drug. And I'm looking at it. FDA approves. I'm trying to find the company. Blah blah blah. It's yesterday. Where is it? because I don't follow it. But how big of a market could it be? Are there that many people with this issue? I mean, gosh, how many?
Hold on, let me just see here. I'm trying to work. I'm working with it too. I got to free smoke that shit.
It's called Ferring Pharmaceuticals. Ferring is who owns the license, the granted approval of Rebyota. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Rebyota. Rebyota. Ferring Pharmaceuticals. Ferring. That's the name. So I don't know if it's public, but we're going to give it a look, see if we can find it. And it's interesting. Ferring Global, are they traded? Private limited company. So they are not traded. Formerly called Nordiska Hormone Laboratoriet. Private limited Swiss multinational company.
The Swiss. Leave it to the Swiss. They're going to get your system working like a Swiss watch.
So you would have to speculate on who might buy that is publicly traded, but that's not really something it's not really going to help you much, right? Because the buyer is going to lose some. It's not traded. So it's been around since 1950 and pretty big company. They do about 2.2 billion a year in revenue, euro, dollar revenues, and they have 5,400 employees. So it's a big company. Why would they go public? They're printing money, clearly. Printing money.
Microbiota.
Yep.
Yes. All right, man.
It's a big one.
You can't tell us we don't talk shit on this show because we talk it every day. More today than most days. But speaking of talking shit, did you see Howard Stern talking shit about Oprah? Our friend Jim Urio is, he's re-bringing up something that we ran with for at least when it came out for years on the breaking news that the elites trust each other more and more. Howard sat in his basement for 2 years, and he's not happy that Oprah shares her oppressed lifestyle so much on Instagram.
He's always had a hard on for Oprah. He's always, she's been the butt of his jokes, no pun intended, for a long time. So,
it's interesting. It's interesting as these elites all seem to want to devour each other. Thank you, Jim, for reminding me of the elites and their breaking news of how much they trust each other. Trust is one of those things that's fine. It's like resources, Matt, right? Yeah. Nobody fights over resources when they're plentiful.
Right.
You've seen
tomorrow we have the jobs number. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah. You know what my thought is?
Yeah.
I'm a pessimist. I'm actually not a pessimist. Only in trading am I a pessimist. It's crazy. I think that they give
around the market. You've been around markets and rug pulls long enough to know what's going on.
Right. It would not surprise me, Matt, if they ended up, 4% lower tomorrow. With all the nauseating talk about a close above the 200-day moving average, and 12 out of the last 13 years, it's been 20% higher, 12 months out. The amount of retail buying that came in yesterday on that close was staggering.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm more inclined to take the don't here on the jobs number. It's a tricky one too, because if it's weak, okay, so maybe they taper their taper tantrum. But
listen, they're gonna raise in December. This is the thing. Just because he said whatever he said, and I didn't hear it, so I don't have the quotes in front of me. Whatever he said, that's why the market went crazy, because the market assumes they're going to be cutting in December. But the facts are they will not cut. They will raise for sure. They will. It may be 50 basis points, but it's not going to be a cut, right? So, and then they're going to raise again whenever the next meeting is, at least another 50. So that's what I think, and so I think this is just another. We're coming up to those levels where I thought we'd go. 4150 was really the next line in the sand. After you go over 4050, you got 4150. We got to 4110 today. They squeezed all the way up there and they ran out of buyers. They ran out and they quickly reversed. And what's interesting to me is they quickly reversed, but not really, they got to 4054, which is pretty much where it should bounce, because that was the breakout area. So now the battle's going to be between 40.70 and 41.10. And when they break out of that, they can get to 41.50, right? It's a simple 40, 40. It starts adding up. So that's kind of how I see this playing out. And then once it gets to 41.50, again, you're going to have to really find some new buyers. And I don't know what the new information is going to be coming out of Paul and crew, like what that could be. If they can, there's a chance the thing runs to 43.50. That's the 61. That's the 61.8. Actually, that's not even the 61. Let me adjust that because I haven't adjusted it for the new. The 61.8 right now is 42.19 from the low down there at 35.12. So that's and that is not actually accurate because that's
you got to pull that high down, right?
Pull that a little higher. So again, 61.8, 43.07. That's the 61.8. And this, look at this major the point of control right now, Bob, and this is for all-time high to recent low. And it happens to be the 51% retrace is also right here at 41.50. So again, a lot of things lining up all together here on the big picture that this is, I mean, geez, and just, it's going to be hard to overlook that. It's going to be hard to overlook the 41.50. And again, I like to go back to, these key levels here and look at that. I think that's going to be a tough area for them to get through that 41.50. I really do.
Right on, Matt. And if you're talking about rates, as of right now, the lay of the land right now, the what's here, we talk about that. Like the truth is what's here. What's the actual bid offer in anything that we're talking about, right?
Right.
What's here? That's the truth. And right now, these 22 euro dollars are trading 95.13. All right. These 23 euro dollars are trading 95.38. So right now the market doesn't think they would even ease it, right? More than a quarter a point all of next year. All of next year. That's what the market is saying. What that says to me is nobody fucking knows. Right. Come on. Nobody knows.
And then the other thing that's been, obviously with the dollar going down, and I'm going to bring this up because we haven't talked about the euro, but the euro is going through the roof, right? When it busted down under a dollar, busted down under par, shook out everybody, and that low, I think we got down there to, what was it, 95s? Yeah. So we've gone from 95s, which was just late September, all the way up here to $1.05. But again, you don't even start getting into the value zone until 110. So maybe it drifts up a little higher, but
yeah, I was actually looking at that yesterday and thinking 109 would be a great place to start dabbling here in that
with
euro
options and whatnot. But again,
exactly.
And again, but if the dollar continues to be weak here, and again, that 104 level is key for me, and we talked about it yesterday, and it dipped into the 104s today. So anything is possible. I mean, it's down big again today. And what's interesting is the market is really not up big today. It was up big yesterday. So now have the futures got, at least the equity futures gotten out ahead of the dollar futures? Maybe, maybe that's what this is telling us. Maybe that's there's a little diversion, not diversion, but that's my diversion behind me. But anyways, it did get down here and really is testing that low of 104.50. But again, for me, it's going to have to close and get a weekly close below there. It's going to have to, still a lot of, this is strong. I mean, it's still bullish really down here to the 102s on a longer time frame. So
no, and I agree. And it's got room like for the year chart for the way I'm looking at it. I mean, the point of control is all the way up at 113-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, and that's a big, listen, we've talked about this before too. These FX markets are giant. All right. So that is a big meaty profile.
Yeah. And that doesn't even get it, the value zone doesn't even get in here until, and this is, we're encompassing COVID on, and which I like to do because I think that's the world we're in. It's the post-COVID world, starting with COVID, which was right here. So that, these numbers, we this is 103.90. Isn't that interesting that's that same level, 104? That was where we spiked the day that all the money flooded the system. So unless they can flood the money with, like more days like yesterday, which just is, like you can't, when you see days like that, don't fight them. Like I said to you earlier, I'm like, just get long the S&P right there at, it was like 39.80, and sure enough, I mean, I wish I would have bought some calls. I just reacted too slowly to the whole thing. You could have picked up some.
Yeah, good Lord, holy
mean,
shite.
But I mean, just look at that. Look at that. I mean, you don't see these types of. I mean, that is parabolic. That is like a ladder straight up. I mean, the pitch on that is straight up. So again, this is going to be, 4150, but there's not a lot. I don't see a lot more upside that's going to be easy. Like, what else can they tell you that they haven't told you already? And the CPI has been great. GDP was revised, great. Jobs will be. I mean, if the jobs are great tomorrow, maybe they sell off. If they're shitty, maybe they go up again.
I know, that's my whole point as we started talking about the jobs is like, it's hard to tell what the market's going to do no matter what that number is.
Right.
That's unreal. That's the world.
Yeah,
we live
even
in.
if it's good or bad. I mean, I think everybody's been expecting bad, and so good continues to come, and then so until everybody's expecting good, I don't think bad news is good necessarily, and good news is probably bad. You know what I mean? So
I agree. Mark's talking news event driven market. It's like everybody's just looking on what's the next headline that. And believe me, our talk with Ben Hunt about a year ago, right? There's plenty of people that have bots that are just trading headlines, right?
Yeah.
There's not even a person behind the wheel.
Right. You're behind the wheel.
All right, Matt. Who do we got tonight? We got a good game tonight, right? Thursday night football.
Who do we have? I have not looked. Today is the first. Yeah, we got the Bills, Patriots. At New England. So the Burr Bowl. Again, Bills are favored by 4.5. This would be a game for Mac, whatever his name is. He needs
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones needs to win one for sure. What over here?
All right, that's what we got. Bear down, Chicago Bears. And if you haven't seen Brian's song, please do yourself a favor and watch that movie.
Great movie.
Also very important. That
also watch Training Day, since we were talking on that thing.
Training Day, right? Exactly.
Great movie. 2001. That movie's 21 years old.
It's insane. That's such a great movie. Amazon.com immediately and order some shrimp mojo. You got to start. You better order it quickly to get it for the holidays, and you're going to need it for the holidays to feed the masses. All right, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lee. Join us at marketvitals.io. Join the community. Get to our Trading View scripts that we share every day on the show. That's it, Matt. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, Bo. Hold on. Wait a second, Matt. Wait a second. I forgot to do this yesterday. This is my new favorite thing here that I can do.